Thank you. Thank you. I am honored to be here for this very special moment made possible by the International Center for Journalists.
Tonight crowns the 15 years I have dedicated to journalism and social causes at Tribuna de Minas. What makes me happiest is that I am seen as a role model, even though I work in a small city where media professionals have little visibility. I have been invited to work at bigger newspapers, but I have always resisted because I never wanted to be away from my own community. As a journalist, I have dedicated myself to fighting against poverty and suffering. This has become the engine of my work and my reason for being. That's why my stories are about the invisible victims of violence and injustice, and not the big national stories. From a very early age, I realized that investigative journalism can do a lot for those victims. Sometimes we journalists are their only voice. This was true for rape victims in my city. A colleague's niece had been raped, and the government had a policy of not giving AIDS preventive medicine to those victims. This woman chose to reveal her story to me so she could help other women in similar situations. After my series ran, the government changed policies for rape victims. I realized how important our job was when the victim asked her mother to read the story. She wanted her to understand the pain she had been through. Up until then, the victim had not told her parents about the violence she had suffered. The stories of victims have always moved me, especially the stories of those who cannot defend themselves. This is why I wanted to get to the bottom of what was happening in the psychiatric hospitals of my city, Juiz de Fora. After 2 months of work, we counted 30 deaths, many of them due to maltreatment and negligence. The hospital had never officially reported the deaths. After a government audit confirmed the cases, the city's health department completely changed its care of the 600 patients. What makes me happy is that with these stories, I can restore the dignity that those people had lost. Last year, I wrote the most dangerous story of my life. We uncovered the illicit connections between one of the city's most influential politicians and City Hall. The politician's construction company illegally won more than 15 public tenders for the constructions of schools and public projects. As a result of our reports, he resigned, 17 people were fired, and today that politician lives in the city jail. Because of this story, my family and I have received death threats. Even when I exposed my family to the risks, though, I didn't feel I had the right to flinch. When I look back, I am certain that it was worth it because we changed people's lives. This is our role, to transform society, to be a spokesperson for those who are excluded, to make a difference. When I received the most precious gift of telling someone else's story, I am thankful for the opportunity to be a journalist. I am grateful for all that I have been able to change, for the justice I have brought to so many people. And even if it had been just one person, it would have been worth it.
Thank you. So, I dedicate this award to journalists throughout the world who leave their house every day to fight for a better society in spite of the risks. According to the International Press Institute, 38 journalists were killed around the world in the first half of 2010. And Latin America is the most dangerous area in the world to work as a journalist. World leaders need to stop the killing of journalists. We don't want another one to die. Nosotros los queremos vivos. I thank all the people who made my dream possible, the International Center for Journalists, for recognizing me with this award. Tribune de Minas for hiring me when I was still a girl just out of college. My brilliant editors Paulo César Magela, Denise Gonçalves, Lilian Pace, and Marise Baesso. My mother and stepfather, who are friends forever. My father, who has been my #1 fan. And Dona Isabel Solomão, who is the greatest example of dedication to other people that I know. Above all, I thank my husband, Marco, for never fighting over my love of journalism and helping me to become a better person every day. Finally, I share this award with my first baby, Diego, who will soon be born, and for whom I now fight to build a fair and united world. Thank you.